Welcome to episode 18 of the YMB and BTC podcast. Today, we have a special guest, Andrew Lee from Purse.io. He's here to tell us all about his awesome marketplace that allows people to buy Bitcoin with a credit card through Amazon or get a significant discount when spending their cryptocurrency. I'll leave the details to him. After that, the YMB team will take a stab at Bitcoin comedy. We found a thread offering prayers to several gods in exchange for Bitcoin and a few other Bitcoin jokes, some of which frankly were terrible. This week's show is a bit shorter than usual. Your hosts are Tim Baker, John Stuart, and myself, Daniel Brown. Here we go. Welcome, everybody. This will be episode 18 of the YMB and BTC podcast. We have a special guest with us today, Andrew Lee from Purse.io. It's a pretty sweet site. It used to be called GetBee, You can buy Bitcoins or spend Bitcoins through Amazon, and that's pretty cool, but I'll actually just let Andrew take it away and describe it for us. Thanks for joining us, and tell us about Purse.
Hey, thanks for having me on, and I'm a big fan of the show. So Purse.io is a solution to Bitcoin commerce. And most of the time when people ask, what's the problem? What were some barriers to getting Bitcoin used for everyday purchases? They'll mention things like lack of merchant adoption or, lack of places to spend it, and volatility and things like that. And we think those are huge problems. But the bigger problem is providing an incentive for people to spend Bitcoins. And we think the incentive is very important, and it can be generated in a peer-to-peer marketplace. So on Purse.io, you can save an average of 15% on all your Amazon purchases right now. And we do this by allowing somebody else on the other end to easily and conveniently buy your Bitcoins with a credit card for purchasing your items for you on Amazon.
Yeah, that's amazing, and I've used the site several times now, even just over the last week, and I love it. I tend to spend Bitcoins there on Amazon because I like getting the discount, but I know, of course, people also like to be able to buy Bitcoins with a credit card or something like that. Can you tell us about how that pricing works and how the discounts work and who sets the price and everything?
Sure, absolutely. So on Purse.io, the spender sets the rates that they want. So they set their own discount, which translates to a premium for somebody that's buying the Amazon merchandise. So it is kind of a free market type principle. If you set a higher discount, then it's less likely to get fulfilled, in a reasonable amount of time. And if you choose a lower discount, we have orders that just are flying on the buy side right now. I saw your tweet recently, and we tweeted out a picture with at least 5 orders in the order book. There were more that weren't showed there, but as of last night, they were all gone. And there's a lot of demand for people that want to buy Bitcoin easily and conveniently without going through all the verification steps that Coinbase and others make you go through, and we think we provide a really valuable service to both sides, like spenders like you or people across the globe that do not have access to Coinbase even, and we provide a way for Bitcoin to be accessible all across the world.
You mentioned there about people not having to go through what they have to at Coinbase. What kind of how much do you have to know your customer beyond just them putting in their credit card to buy stuff for other people?
Right. So we don't. I know there is an exchange-like component to it, but at the end of the day, the transaction is between Amazon merchandise and Bitcoin, right? And it's almost like a barter system where, we as a company don't handle any fiat currency. And so in terms of knowing our customers, on the buyers, in the case that you're talking about, Amazon has all that data. And so we actually do not keep any data on that. Amazon knows, who purchased your wish list and and can map all that. But what we're doing is really providing a marketplace where this can be done on a peer-to-peer environment, and we think that's important because it's a powerful way to set a big margin or a big incentive for people to spend, and that's where we think the problem is. Bitcoiners, as enthusiastic as they aren't willing to really part with their Bitcoin, right? It's like their precious Bitcoin. They don't want to spend it, and but if you can save 10-15% and just rebuy it on Coinbase later, I think it's enough of a reason to get this going. And we think this model of commerce, is really important to the future of Bitcoin. If you think about all the merchants that are that BitPay and GoCoin and others are gathering, most of their merchants are transacting or converting their Bitcoin directly to dollars, right? And almost the second that they get it. And what that essentially does is for the customer, when you go shop at one of their merchants, you're essentially creating a sell order in the market, right? You're creating a sell order somewhere that BitPay is selling to get those dollars, and with us, yes, there is a premium or a discount attached to it, but your Bitcoin, it's ensured that your Bitcoin goes to somebody else who wants it more, right? And somebody else who doesn't have access to it now, and for Bitcoin, to really be the future, I think that concept is really important. We're not creating any like Bitcoin sell orders by doing any of this. But we are taking it from people that have easy access to Bitcoin and providing it to people who just have access to a credit card. But I know it's not the last mile. It's not going to get to like the African villages or anything like that. But it'll still help Bitcoin become more accessible to places like the Middle East, Latin America, and China, depending on the regulatory environment of the day, and so on and so forth.
With that being said, does that kind of, because you're, like you said, you're kind of just facilitating trade between Amazon and like an Amazon spend order and someone else's Bitcoins, does that kind of let you not have to worry as much about about upcoming regulations as like obviously Coinbase is different, but like just any place that takes Bitcoins?
Yeah, so I mean, no, I think we do have to be careful. I think we do have to set limits. We don't want this to be used for illicit purposes or But at the end of the day, like because this is essentially a barter system, it's not really a fluid way to convert money, if you will, right? I mean, there's much easier ways to go about like laundering money, for example. I mean, then to fulfill like Amazon orders. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense to do that. So I think we look at things like gift cards, right? So gift cards have certain regulations attached to it. They're called like added value by FinCEN. And we do comply to those types of rules. So we do comply to like rules that where we think this business model fits better. But definitely the laws that stretch to traditional Bitcoin exchanges, I don't think those same regulations apply to us.
You mentioned the gift cards, and that's actually, I remember a while ago when I first used the service, I was hearing how you're planning to expand to other retailers and how a good way to use Purse.io would be to liquidate gift cards. Can you tell us how that would work and what your plans are as far as other vendors?
Sure. What we'd like to do is ensure this P2P marketplace as much as possible, right? So unlike other, like Gift, for example, they are the market maker, if you will, right? They're buying gift cards at a bulk discounted rate and reselling it to customers almost at face value. But we want to be more like, if we were to do this, we would be more like Cardpool, which at least used to be more of a P2P exchange for gift cards. So you would have somebody on one side that would say, I have... and we would leave it open to both markets where somebody would say, look, I have a $90 Gap gift card, and I'm willing to take a 15% discount on that in exchange for Bitcoin. And somebody with Bitcoin can say, okay, I'll take that, and then we'll find a way to digitally transfer that gift card value to the other person, and just take a 1% fee like we do for on spend orders right now. And I think that would be powerful, because if somebody's, are able to get, 10, 15, maybe even 20% discount on gift cards for using Bitcoin, I think that's a more powerful incentive than, 3 or 4% off at gift. So I think that could be a potential opportunity. But yeah, we're exploring lots of different ways. We really like the idea of, Bitcoin was meant to be global, and we really want to provide as much of a global marketplace as possible. And so we might, some of the other things that we are looking at are like the Amazons of developing markets, and trying to, create marketplaces over there that where we could find buyers of Bitcoin in the U.S. and maybe a spender in Brazil, and enable those type of interactions more. But yes, we are interested in lots of different verticals, but at the current time, we're really trying to get Amazon down right, and then and really iron out all the different potential problems, and really try to deliver a solution that customers like and appreciate.
Yeah, I know the idea of liquidating your gift cards for Bitcoin is something that a lot of people would find useful, even with just Amazon, because there are a lot of Amazon gift cards out there, and a lot of times they do sell them at a discount, and Purse is a great way to do that. And I remember once I had like a $300 Best Buy gift card that I got for exchanging something, and I didn't really want to buy it again, so yeah, I just had to somehow get rid of this gift card, and it would be nice if there was a Purse for Best Buy, and I hope someday I can see something like that, because that'll be awesome.
Yeah, that would be cool.
So kind of jumping off of that, can you tell us a little bit about how kind of like the relationship between you and Amazon works? I mean, I guess it's kind of like symbiotic. Maybe talk about Prime and stuff like that a little bit.
Sure. So we do not have any official partnership or relationship with Amazon, but we do leverage many of their capabilities and features in their marketplace. So we do have an interesting relationship. We feel that it is completely complementary, because we are providing a way for Amazon to monetize from the Bitcoin community, sell to the Bitcoin community without accepting Bitcoin. Yeah, I think a couple of weeks ago they made it very clear that they aren't going to accept Bitcoin. So I think as far as they are concerned, they're not accepting Bitcoin. Our buyers on our site are paying with credit cards, which they, for whatever reason, rather take. And so I think we are doing a service to them, and we are definitely grateful to Amazon for being a great platform for so many things. Oh, and the one thing I wanted to mention with Prime is spenders on our site can select that buyers have Prime as a requirement. And so, to ensure a faster delivery is essentially where we're going with that.
Yeah, so that's just kind of another benefit that Amazon gets from that, I guess. It encourages people to have Prime.
Oh, right. Yeah, exactly. We're also selling Prime for them. Yeah.
I think I completely agree that Amazon benefits from this a lot, because it encourages people to basically use Amazon and things like that. But we also know that a lot of times people can be afraid of Bitcoin, they can misunderstand Bitcoin, they can be worried about regulations or all the money laundering or whatever people talk about. Do you think there's a chance that they might decide that they don't want this at all? Or do you think they're going to just kind of let you be?
I mean, I think that they would. I see no reason why they would not like what we're doing. But if it came to that, I hope that they are willing to at least give us time to discuss what other benefits that we could do, or what other partnerships that we could provide. And yeah, so I think that's what it is right now. If I were Amazon, and I'm not entirely sure what their motivation for talking to Jason Del Rey at Recode was, but I suspect that they still their values are aligned with the customer experience and customer value, and they might feel that the implementations of Bitcoin would be, would create some kind of bad experience for the customer. And I could kind of see that, right? Bitcoin's still volatile and it is still, pretty difficult to use. So, I mean, I think I still, I mean, I do understand where they're coming from, but I'm not entirely sure what the purpose of that, engagement with Recode was.
What could Amazon really do to you? Like, could they just say that they don't want you being able to run because you use Amazon and that's copy, or not that you use Amazon, but that well, I guess you do kind of use them, but can they just like ban you from not being able to?
Yeah, I honestly don't think so. I don't think it comes to that. They are typically very open to the ecosystem for people that advertise on behalf of Amazon. You might have seen it in some of the more prominent blogs. People have their book recommendations and links to Amazon through it, and things like that. And so I think historically that they see value in this kind of thing, where we are promoting their goods and their services and their platform. And I don't believe that this is something that they would find to be negative to their business. If anything, we could kind of be like their beta testing ground, right? To see how, what kind of different things that they could do with the Bitcoin ecosystem, and just learn without having to put their reputation at stake for getting behind Bitcoin.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, you're right.
This is changing gears just a little, but can you just tell us where you're headed with Purse? I know you're still fairly new, you're still growing quite a bit, and we've seen, just over the past few months, I've seen quite a bit of growth. Where are you headed? What are you going to do in the future?
Yeah, so we have a new redesign of both the exterior and signed-in pages, and coming up very soon. So probably in the next couple of days, we should have that launched, and it looks great. We're just ironing out a couple of bugs right now. So we have that coming. In the future, we expect to continue to find very useful peer-to-peer type of use cases for the purpose of Bitcoin commerce. We think, it's been widely said, but currency and money is two things. One, it's a store of value, and two, it's a medium of exchange. And its feasibility as a store of value has been well proven out, I think, at this point. But the feasibility, there's a lot of challenges to getting it used as a medium of exchange, and I'd like to live in a world where Bitcoin were used, for everyday purchases, and I think things like Purse.io are very important because they solve, I think, the biggest problem, which is providing people a reason to spend Bitcoin rather than their local currency. So we're going to continue to try to provide useful services that help drive that kind of change.
Andrew, I talked to Kent, who's the other, or is it just you two still?
There are two of us right now, but we are expanding, and we have hired a development team to help us build the front end type things faster. So, but yeah, we're moving fast.
How did you and Kent kind of get together and figure out you wanted to do this together?
Yeah, so a little bit of background. So Kent was working on Purse.io first, and he has a background working as a material scientist for IBM. And he quit around August or sometime late last year to devote his time to Bitcoin. I had done something similar, but I had come from a banking background, so I was at Merrill Lynch covering emerging payments for a while, and I was really looking for a product that would really help drive Bitcoin and make big changes in Bitcoin, because I was interested in it as well. And we met at a coffee shop, and we met at somewhere like in the Mission District in San Francisco, and we met sometime around 1 p.m. and didn't leave till like 11:30 p.m. Like they had to literally like kick us out. And ever since, we've I've been helping him on various things, and we've been going to different conferences and really trying to get the word out. And a couple, I guess it's been 3 weeks now. We were accepted to Plug and Play's Bitcoin only accelerator program, and we've been working hard full time every day, dedicating all of our time and resources and energy into building Persio to be a better and more improved. So that we've been working towards this update that we're very excited to launch, and you should see lots of improvements from there.
Can you just tell us about that plug and play program and everything? That seems kind of fascinating. And is it just a bunch of kind of startups kind of getting together and learning together and working together and everything?
Sure, yeah. So Plug and Play has a couple different businesses that they do. So one is they do corporate incubation. So there's big companies like Procter and Gamble and Clorox and things like that will in retail and in all different industries will fund small innovative teams that would help the challenge of theirs. So they have that arm. They have an investment arm, and then they also have an incubator. And the accelerator that we are part of is a part of that incubator accelerator program, but it's Bitcoin only. And so there are 4 companies. We are among 4 companies that started 3 weeks ago, and it's the first class. It's led by a gentleman named Scott Robinson, and he's done a terrific job so far for us, and he's been a great mentor, advisor, and leader throughout this process.
I just today noticed the Bitcoin job fair, and I saw Purse.io listed on there. The job fair in general, that'd be a pretty awesome environment and everything, but you guys are involved in that, right?
Yes, we are. We are part of that. It'll be here in Sunnyvale. If not at the Plug and Play building, I think it might be at the Plug and Play building. But we're continuing to expand to our team and looking for all kinds of talent, but specifically in software engineering, to help drive these other markets that we want to enter.
One thing we'd like to do with all of our guests, at least as much as we remember, before we let them go, we want to just hear a personal story about you and Bitcoin. Something, preferably not how you got involved, because that's what everyone wants to know, but anything. If you've been scammed, if you had a funny story, anytime if you saw firsthand something, how Bitcoin can change the world or anything like that. We love to hear those things.
Yes. So I am. This is a story about a time when I knew about Bitcoin, but it wasn't really available to solve this challenge. But I think it's a huge challenge that'll eventually get solved by Bitcoin. So here it is. So I had a virtual education company with virtual contractors in many different places, and they were in India and the Philippines and Hong Kong, and I guess mostly around the Southeast Asia and the U.S. And I was running an online business where all these different contractors were contributing to fulfilling like virtual education services. So they were essentially Skype tutors. But the problem was every week or so I would have to send these payments to 20, 30 different directions. The U.S. ones were pretty simple, but the ones in Southeast Asia were a nightmare. They took forever. They cost like 10-15%. And I wished, there's got to be a better way. And in the back of my mind, at that time, I still knew like this thing called Bitcoin was emerging, but it just didn't have that scale and potential yet. I think that's a huge problem. The way that would have been solved is to have liquid exchanges in each of those markets with a Bitcoin to INR order book or Bitcoin to PHP order book and things like that. And we're still not there, but I think it'll definitely get there. But at that point, payments to all these different Bitcoin exchanges would have been very, very seamless and easy. So, I think that's still the future, but it's a long way to go, and I'm excited to be a part of this. And I think that's what's really cool about this community. We're all a part of this change, so yeah, I think that's the future.
That's fantastic, and that's something we talk about all the time, and it's amazing just how, even if the exchange rate was a lot lower, Bitcoin still lets you transfer money just so easily, and that's amazing. And yeah, that's a perfect example of how it could help.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Andrew Lee from Purse.io, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys. And we're happy that you guys are customers. Purse.io is a great place for Bitcoiners to spend on their Amazon purchases. After you use it once, I don't think you'll ever use it a different way. But yeah, thanks for having me on, guys, and I'm excited to be a part of this.
Awesome, thanks.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
This episode of You, Me, and BTC is brought to you in part by the Canacoin Project, an online decentralized peer-to-peer cryptocurrency for the cannabis industry. Canacoin is designed to meet the standards of the continually growing marijuana legalization movement and was built upon the success of the Bitcoin and Litecoin protocols. We have not only implemented a more faster, efficient network for users to transact, we finally created a cryptocurrency that can be backed by one of the world's largest commodities, the cannabis plant. To get started today, or for more information on how to get involved in the Canacoin project, please find us at www.canacoin.cc or contact the development team via email at team@canacoin.cc. We also encourage users to participate in the discussion and follow our thread over on the Bitcoin Talk Alternative Cryptocurrencies forum. And we also encourage users to subscribe to r/Canacoin on Reddit and follow us at CCN Project on Twitter for more information. And now, let's get back to Tim, Daniel, and John with the You, Me, and BTC podcast.
So we had a little bit of extra time, and we've had this idea to do kind of a little comedy selection, I guess, for one of our episodes, just because we found a few funny Bitcoin-related things that we wanted to share. So right now we have a thread up on bitcointalk.org. The thread topic is called Prayers for Bitcoins, announcing the Church of Bitcoin. Alright, so I'm going to read this post. We would like to offer a new service to fellow Bitcoiners. We are sure some of you folks are religious like us, so we would like to offer something of mutual profit. We will pray to any god or gods you request for an undefined number of Bitcoins. The more you send, the stronger will be our prayers, but remember, every bit sent is good for you. Send me a PM, where should we direct our prayers, and we will send you a unique Bitcoin address. If there is something specific you believe your God should hear about, let us know about it. Otherwise, we will just pray for your soul and your Bitcoin wallets. Currently, we support 13 religions, and there are 37 of us monks here. Any questions? Just ask. That is what we're here for. Then under that, he has a picture of a monk sitting cross-legged praying. Do you guys find any good replies to this that are worth reading?
I saw one person just get really mad. Like, this is horrible.
Well, yeah, one thing is, it's actually, the person who posted it is like a hero member. He's like one of the most well-known guys there. He has 4,820 posts, so he's like a huge guy there, and apparently he supports 13 religions and has 37 monks.
Here's one that I found before when I was looking at this and I forgot about it, but I just saw it again. Somebody replied to it, "Hi, I'm a god interested in your service. Do I need to provide APIs for my religion?"
The one person says, "Great idea, this is real need for a service like this. Cut the satire, however, marketing design is also bad. Your users will need to know that you hate other religions and especially atheists before they can trust you. This we support 13 religions crap doesn't sell." So, he needs to have like 13 separate guys that can like play off each other.
Somebody replied to the one that I was just saying about the guy saying he was a god. And then somebody replied to that, "Are you a god wishing to get its religion included in one of the above-mentioned 13? Are you an intermediary god looking to relay prayers through a major player at a bulk discount?"
This is actually I think we've seen before, like, the Church of Satoshi and stuff like that, and I don't know how serious any of those people are, but it's kind of interesting. And, like, well, I know some people have said, like, Bitcoin is the Antichrist, or, like, some people have been like, Satoshi is the same thing as Jesus, or, I don't know. Just for anybody listening, I'll post a link to this in the post on our website, just so if anybody wants to see the funny picture or whatever.
I saw one of the comments, the only, some guy's talking about he wants to start a church of development where God is the future and we worship by making it better. Basically just a developmental coin charity that religiously works towards the future. That actually sounds like a kind of interesting idea, like, just to think of that. Not as, like, a funny, it's below on that page.
I was actually reading that post right when you said that.
Then it gets into a joke thing where he says, I'm a certified minister and I work to get non-profit status in my state. I mean, I think it's a joke thing. But then, commandment is thou shalt earneth bitcoins.
Also, just in case anybody cares, this was originally posted quite a while ago, March 11th, 2012. But then just recently, somebody posted btcprayer.com just a couple months ago.
I know there's a Church of Satoshi. I think you already mentioned that, but they have a website. But I think on the website they admit that they're not real.
Okay, here's btcprayer.com. It's just like a plain website with a blue background, some text, and a QR code. It says, Dear Bitcoiners, miners, traders, and users, I will pray for you and for your success, guaranteed, anonymously. And then there's just the QR code. I'm going to look it up, see if it got any donations, even though I guess
Does it anonymously? I'm reading this thread on Bitcoin Talk that's just jokes. And so far, they're all terrible. They're not even, like, worth reading.
I just looked up the address from that QR code, and there's literally no money was ever sent to it from btcprayer.com, so. We also just we found a Reddit thread, which I'm sure some of you have probably seen it or browsed it or whatever, but just since we were kind of on this comedy idea, the original Reddit is anyone have any Bitcoin jokes, so we're just going to skim through it, see if we find any good ones, and read them for everybody. The one says, what's the difference between a blind man using a map and a truckload of BFL jalapenos? The blind man has a chance of finding a block.
How did the Bitcoiner get into the sex offenders registry? He touched a minor.
I'm pretty sure all the altcoins are a joke. That's what somebody said, but if anybody has listened to our show before, we generally disagree with that. We like altcoins because they're competing currencies and competition is a good thing.
This is on a similar thread on Bitcoin Talk I was looking at. So far, this is the only thing I found that was funny at all. It says a man walks into the bank and asks if he can convert his dollars to Bitcoin. His account is frozen and he's reported as a possible terrorist to the FBI.
Okay, I just found Can Has Bitcoin. It's like that, it's basically just one of those websites where it's like everything is flashing in the background. There's dancing stuff on the front of it.
Yeah. It's like a horrible website.
Bruce Schneier can get 600 gigahash per second with an abacus.
So basically what we're saying with this whole segment is that Bitcoin needs someone to actually come up with some decent jokes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. This is pretty
Well, I mean, the prayer thing was pretty good, but the rest aren't.
Yeah, this is pretty infertile territory so far.
If anybody writes a collection of, I don't know, at least 10 good Bitcoin jokes that make us all laugh, we'll post it on our website and mention it in the podcast and share it for everyone. In Soviet Russia, Bitcoin mines you.
Somebody just said Dogecoin. I want this one. A dishwasher at a 5-star hotel asks his superior to be paid in Bitcoins. The day after payday, he returns and pays the boss back to buy the hotel.
Before we finish things up, I wanted to mention one more thing. John Stuart, our co-host, who is with us for most shows, he does all of our music. Any intro music, any transition music, all the music in the show is from him. He's a pretty awesome artist. His website is johnstuartmusic.com, and I'll probably just post a link on the post as well for this. At the moment, I think it points to his Bandcamp page, but he's working on an actual website for himself too, which you might see pretty soon. But yeah, we want you to check him out, and he's got a new video coming out pretty soon, probably by the time you're listening to this. You want to tell us about that, John?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just doing there's a new Lana Del Rey song out, and I'm doing a cover of it, and there'll be a video attached to that. Like Daniel said, by the time you hear this, it should probably be out. Maybe we'll have a link in the post. Yeah, and like Daniel said, if you're interested, you can just check out johnstuartmusic.com. Hopefully, in a few weeks or so, there should be an actual site up. You could also check me out on SoundCloud, too.
Just one thing, too, is all of his music is pay what you want, so...
Yeah, everything is Creative Commons and everything is free. So, I mean, if you want to just take it and listen to it, it's free. If you want to take it and use it, you can do that too. But you have to attribute it to me. That's the only catch. And I do have Bitcoin tipping addresses, which feel free to do that, especially if you want to use my music for something. That'd be nice. But I'm not requiring anything. Oh, I guess I should say this too, maybe. I am kind of into doing music for like video for like films and stuff. I mean, not that I've done any serious stuff, but I've done some things for friends, small little projects.
You've dabbled.
Yeah, I guess I've dabbled. So, I mean, if you ever want music, or if you're doing a podcast like this and you want intro music like we have, or you're making a video or something like that, feel free to try to get in contact with me, and maybe we can talk about me doing something original for you, and you can even pay me with Bitcoin. I will accept that. I could give you all my information, but it's probably just easier if we post it on the site.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, and there's gonna, hopefully I'll make a post on the Bitcoin Talk forums about that pretty soon in the services section. But yeah, I'm offering my services.
Which are awesome, which is why we use them all the time.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for listening. Remember to visit our website, youmeandbtc.com, and tune in next Thursday.
My pen begins to trace those tired lines, like roads we've walked before, or rowing in a circle like a boat with just one oar. My fleeting muse still goads me down this road, although she's gone too far. I'll keep my distance, and maybe I can blame her for my faults. You said that if I had a way with words, I'd say something of worth. Maybe I got an artist's brain, but never learned to paint. But self-effacement's just a funny way of trying to save face. I think I've got an honest mind that's used to telling lies. What was it I was going to say? My train of thought has jumped the tracks. I thought I heard a dull summer play, then distraction steered my fate. The song I had dreamed soon grew faint, and I forgot castle in the air, or catch my train of thought. I may just waste my life pretending I am what I'm not. The human race extends its grasping hand to reach for something more. And if I can, I'd like to help and maybe guide its course.